We're at Main Street Window Tinting in Loris, and my buddy Dustin's shop at Jangalang. We're getting ready to pull all the subs out, and yeah, we're gonna go ahead and talk real quick about inverted subs. I see a lot of you people asking, you know, why do you invert subs? Well, I'm gonna tell you why. It looks way better. I mean, I love the look of the booty stuck up in the air. And like at the Sundown show last weekend when I was demoing, I could literally just reach back, grab a motor, and judge how warm they were. That's basically the main reasons, guys. Maybe if your enclosure is a little small and you flip the motors up, you gain a little airspace, but that is why I have been doing it. Because it looks better, and I like, you know, also another big benefit is if you do have your temp gun and you're mounted inverted, you can point your temp gun right at the coil and get a coil temp reading right then and there. But what are we doing to Jangalang today? Well, my front port is too small. I have known this. There's no way to get any depth on my front port to get proper tuning, because the length of the port would need to be in to where it would actually hit one of the baskets or a motor, you know. Subs are in the way. So we're pulling all the subs, bracing. We're gonna have to go ahead and flip the subs, but before we do that, we're gonna open up the port to get it, you know, over 400 square inches. And then we're going to flip the subs down with the motors down so I can actually get the depth I need to tune my front port over, you know, it needs to be tuned around 40. Right now it's tuned way too high. So I need to drop down to about 40, 44 hertz. And yeah, to do that, I got to flip the motors in, and I also need to open up the port. So for those of you that have always wondered, why do you guys run your subs upside down? That's why. Another thing I tell you, it does not matter. If all your motors are up, you do not need to reverse the polarity. If all your motors are down, you do not need to reverse the polarity. It don't matter. The only time you would need to swap polarity is if you have like 3 down, 2 up. Then you got to reverse polarity on 2 of them. It don't matter which 2. But let's get into this video. Yeah. So here we have Miss Debbie. He ain't loud. Y'all ain't seen this guy in forever in none of my videos, or the show. Mr. Billy Staples with the F-160. And y'all already know Dustin. Why is he in there pulling my subs? Because he a little feller. He's actually small enough to get in there. So, yeah. But yeah, we're pulling everything, getting ready to open the port up. Yeah, it's gonna be a hassle, guys. But we're always doing base head shit. You know how it is. Gotta be doing base head shit all the time. And here, I'll show y'all something. Which, I've been ragging his ass for not making the Sundown show. But he actually drove the F-160 today. So, anyway, and Dustin's build, he calls Baba Yaga. It's over out back here so we can get the Jeep in, because he's been working on a boat. But I'll be back. We got Mr. F-160 here, marking where we're cutting out the port. We're running into a little issue with the 45, so we're just going right to the 45. But you see we got all the subs out of it. So he's gonna mark each side. We're gonna try to cut that out. And then we gotta get all of that out of there and move it into the bottom chamber. So that's where we're at, guys. We got 3 of my subs there. And we got a couple of them over here. Like really pretty subs. They're good and loose now. They're G2 Genesis, which y'all know that already, with what Paul called the team recones, which were nothing more than, they were built by Corey Dean. And guys, I tell you, I've beat the shit out of them little bitty subs playing like, well, I gave tons of demos, 15 to 18 hertz on them, like hammering them, and they're still alive. So Jang-a-lang looking sad. And Billy getting ready to do some magic.
Tell me what you want, what you want, what you want. Tell me what you want, what you want, what you want. Tell me what you want, what you want, what you want. Tell me what you want, what you want, what you want.
Just tell me what you want, what you need, what you see, what you wanna be. Tell me everything, think it into being. That's how dreams become the real thing. A model of thinking, a bottle to sink in, yeah. I've been coast to coast around this whole globe. I've seen a lot.
Billy said he ain't scared to cut that shit. He's like, it ain't mine. He's like, it don't matter, it ain't mine. It's definitely a slow process because of how thick that is. And I kind of just volunteered Billy to do, I don't know, I was like, Billy likes cutting shit up. Especially if it ain't his. So I was like, yeah, whatever. Guys, we making magic happen. And I mean, this is beefy. But then again, that's why you build 3 layers thick on everything. He's getting the other side marked now. Then this should bring us about 460 square inches of port. I'll have a piece of 3/4 here, up here, and on each side, dipping back to get me some tuning. And that'll shrink me down. But even shrinking me down, hold on, let me flip this camera. When it was all said and done, I had 354 square inches of port. So that was too small. I'm gonna give y'all just a little bit of knowledge here. On a 6th order, you want your front port opening 4 to 5 times what the back port is. So run 2 8-inch ports. That's 100.5 square inches of port roughly. So that means my front port needs to be at least 400, just ballparking it, at least 400. And that's a 354. So that's why it really hurt me bad when I put the round over in it, and it just was choked. It wasn't loud with the round over on that front. Because without the round over, I'm a 354. A round over, I was using 3-inch PVC cut in half, so you got to figure 3 inches top, 3 inches on the sides, you know, it'd be 1.5 all the way around. That was definitely hurting me. That's why it just didn't do great. So now, hopefully it gets louder. But I'm not even lying to y'all. I done talked to Bobby Mansfield. A lot of y'all know who he is, a lot of you don't. But I hit him up the other day and I'm like, hey, my front tuning's really weird. He said my bottom chamber's perfect. Me and him kind of build along the same lines of everything on bottom. But the only way that I can actually get a port length in there to get my port right on top is to put the subs in. So I never even thought about it. And he's the one that's like, hey, you could flip the subs, and you know, here we are, guys. So that's kind of what we're doing today. But I just hit Dustin up and I'm like, what are you doing Sunday? I kind of want to flip my subs in. And he's like, bring it to the shop. Because, you know, in here in the AC versus out there in the elements. So, hell yeah. Dustin's, he's a VIP. And then we got Billy out the house to hang out with us. And I got him in there working. Oh, hold on, he hollered at me. Billy wasn't even playing. That's a lot bigger cut out now. A lot bigger. And here's the other pieces that was cut out. It's a lot of wood. But, man, guys, I'm going to tell you, I'm just taking Bobby's word for it. But if y'all know who the fuck Bobby Mansfield is, you know that Bobby Mansfield knows his shit. So, I mean, what's the worst that could happen, you know? We got to put some wood back in there. But anyway, I'm just trying to get some of Dustin's tools out of the damn thing so we can vacuum it. But we ain't been here that long. And we already got a lot of shit done in here. So Like, we literally ain't been here that long. So I'm kind of happy, you know, I mean, we basically just, like, as soon as we got the subs and shit pulled out, Billy got in here and started putting marks down and cutting. And then I had to give Billy a blowjob. Not like you think, though, because I just blew him with this air hose here. That sounded bad, guys. I had a broken bracket. We're getting ready to weld that. A bracket that holds one of my braces in there. So really, all it's going to be left to do is get them subs flipped down. Do some more burps. We do have the term lab here. And in the back, I had my AMM1 hooked up. And what I was doing, guys, is I didn't go full knob or nothing, but you know, I turned my head unit to like volume 25, which is not turned nowhere near all the way up. And I burped 20, 25, 30, and 35. When we wrote down the score, we wrote down it was at volume 25, you know, full bass knob. We wrote down the power and the ohms that I made at each frequency. So when we put the subs motors in with this bigger port up front, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna compare scores, and then I'll start adding port length in there, and then we'll do it again. So, yes, it kind of takes a while, but you wanna record everything, you know, the ohm, the power you made at that frequency, the dB at that frequency, but you gotta do it at the same volume every test. And that'll tell you if you're going in the right direction or the wrong direction, but man, I feel like I got a damn team here. like a damn NASCAR team. We are all Team Ain't Loud. But we were all friends before we basically on Team Ain't Loud. So it's still good to have a crew with your same passion for hobby and shit to help you out. So, because doing this all by myself, I ain't really done a whole lot. These guys just jump in and take over. And then we got Debbie in here now. She's vacuuming the shit up. So it's a win-win. That's bass head shit right there. Like bass head 101 shit. Don't get no better than that. And I've had my big ass in there already, so. But port's a lot bigger in the front now, a lot more room. First sub going back in, guys. So, yeah, you can see a spot back there beside the port where I had my terminals. Then on the sidewalls here, now they at the bottom. Just remember, Dustin, silver is ground.
Yes, sir.
We got that first sub sitting there. It might not look that bad. I mean, I've never really ran a build with subs properly mounted. But shit, you know, it never hurts to try. It doesn't. It doesn't hurt to try. So anyway, I just wanted to give y'all a little clip of what we got going in here. So I got to grab another sub. So sub number 3 is going in. And Dustin just said, hell with it, I'll load these bitches up. The back 3 are the worst to put in, but they're a lot easier going in now that they're not inverted, because before we had literally had to like sit them in there and flip them over on the baffle, and it was kind of a pain in the ass. So it's a lot smoother just doing it this way. But now on the flip side of that, guys, when you run your subs like this, they're more of a bitch to get out, and it's even worse with me having them countersunk. Like after you get the first sub out, then you can kind of reach in, grab the booty, and like push a sub up. But yeah, see how he's grabbing it underneath to turn it. But yeah, I don't know. I just gotta take some getting used to. I'm definitely gonna have to paint the inside of this enclosure, and he's ready. Oh yeah, you're getting ready to screw down.
I feel like I've been needing to screw you a little bit this morning.
I tell you what, guys, this has all been teamwork. This is done by Billy, me, Deb. Like where we got the terminals coming out now. literally right behind all this wiring. So we had to run the amp wires back there and screw on. They're a bitch to get to on that side, but there, you can kind of see them. That was the only place we could really find to put them. So they're in there, everything's hooked up. Whoop, whoop. Blew that out at sundown. I'm taking them out. These are enough. But it's going down, y'all. Ooh. So to continue testing, lighter under seat, I had to put everything back exactly the way it was. This is with the opened up port and subwoofer motors in. So you're not gonna believe it, guys. Burp score was exactly the same. Now my rise changed on some of them. On some of them it went up, and on some of them I gained a little power. But across the board, all the scores were exactly the same on burp, except for 35 hertz, I lost 1/10. Now, I'm not tripping because I didn't lose. Really, you know, where it counts, which is on them lows. So, I'm cool with that. But now, we're going to build this up, and we're going to start adding depth in here to kind of get me a port length that I need to be to get me tuned around like 44 hertz. So, we're working on that now. And then we're going to test all them frequencies again and see if I lost, gained, or what have you. So anyway, that's where we're at. And it ain't really taken a long time to do this crap. What time is it, baby? 2:36. It's 2:30. We got here at 10:30. Got working about 11. So 3.5 hours deep so far, probably. Or anyway, I'll be back. Done. We've built this up roughly 6 inches. And then we're going to add a top layer on this that's going to go back a foot. The side piece is going to go back a foot. The top's going to go back a foot. And in theory, or not theory, according to the math, that should bring me down to 44 hertz with around 375 square inches of port. Now the port's going to be a little low, but I kind of had to go this high because I wanted to clear the subwoofers and give them enough room to be functional and kind of not cancel out. Will it work? Hell, we don't know, but we're going to test it when we get it all in here. I've never had an enclosure look like this, but just looking in, you can't even see subwoofers. You literally have to like look in and down. But this tuning should have me right at 44 hertz, and I gained a considerable amount of port area. So yeah, can't really see crap from the windshield anymore, and my light in there is pretty dim now, so I have to move my LEDs in there around. But as long as it picks up on them lows, I don't care. I do need to go through and turn up the low pass filter on my head unit. I had it set at 40. I should be able to play pretty flat now up to 60, so I got to change that over. And then we're going to do some burps the same way we did all the other ones and see if it gained, lost, or stayed the same. Y'all can hear me, but me and Deb headed home from Dustin's shop, and this thing is stupid now. Like on music, it's stupid. I got bad port rattle because that port's just sitting there. I need to build like a little brace for the center of it on the top and bottom, and then glue it all together and glue it in, because none of that is like actually bolted in real well. We just kind of stuck a few screws in it here and there to test. So I'm gonna have to do some like gluing and screwing and make it more permanent. But my God, musically it's way better. It's got a better flow, bringing up and in the lobes and everything. But gaining like 1/10 of a dB at 20 hertz, well, not 1/10, 7/10, almost a full dB at 20. And guys, that was only at volume 25. I demo at volume 28, which is a whole lot louder than 25. So probably at 28, I've gained a full dB on at 20 hertz. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. You know, everything seems to be better. Musically, it's a lot better. Before, I couldn't really play anything 35 hertz and over. It just didn't sound good. But redoing this front port has got me playing up in them like 40s and 50s now. And I gotta tell y'all, it's stupid at like the higher 30s. It is. It's that bass that starts to get painful. So yeah, across the board, it's way better. But we were trying to play some music and I turned it up, and the port itself in there is rattling really, really bad because it's not supported, it's not glued or nothing. It's just stuck in. So before I can really play it, I got to get that taken care of. But anyway, guys, that's all for now. So guys, I just had to pull everything out and Craig jig these ends because that's my 4 support boards that go right here to hold up my initial port. So with them just screwed here, that allowed everything to kind of rock, but the port sides were screwed in over there and in the top. But still, the thing actually needs glued in. And yeah, the router, when I initially cut this hole, the router went crazy. But all in all, if you use some good silicone, it holds that shit in tight. And believe it or not, it holds it in tight enough that in the little blazer over here, I started using silicone to put the port together. And when we would take it apart, like such change subs or whatever, or like in the future, we got to pull back sub out to recone it. That silicone holds so good that you literally have to, when you get the screws out, put like a putty knife in there, tap it in with a hammer and pry it to break the seal. So I definitely would recommend using silicone to hold your port together if it's something that you have to take apart occasionally. And in car audio, if your port's gonna make it to where you can't get your subs out, you're gonna have to pull it apart occasionally. So yeah, I'm really happy with the results that we got off of this. And I'm just out here today in the heat. It's getting hot already. It was like 78 when I first got up, but the temp's climbing pretty good.
85.
85 already? Yeah, and it's got a high humidity, which the ground's wet, so I don't think it rained last night. I just think it's a lot of dew. Like, oh, it did rain? Yeah. Like, can't get right, it's full of water. So maybe it did rain, but that's making it pretty damn humid. But I got everything tore out of there that we did yesterday pretty quick. I got some silicone last night. I went to Walmart like right after we got this done. And I'm out here with my Craig jig stuff. And some of Dustin's Craig jig stuff. Because I was out of screws for the Craig jig. And he's like, he's got a little kit. He's like, take the whole thing and use what you need. So I think I'm going to use 8 screws. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and try to get this back together. And like I said, you know, I'm going to add more screws than what I had in it. Because some of them boards that stack up only actually had 3 screws in them. Because like I said, this shit was temporary for testing. So, and for everybody wondering if you didn't catch it already or I didn't say it, hell, I don't know what I said yesterday. You know, the rear port in here is tuned around 21, 22. And on a 6th order, you want the front kind of double that. So with the rear being 21, 22, you want that top between 40 and 44. And going a foot back into the enclosure gave me that 44. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, the front port don't matter on a 6th order. Front port don't matter. It matters a lot. Because I've seen gains across the board with it. So with it up in my low volume scores, it's definitely worth it. But I'm going to get back to work. Jing-a-lang. Okay, so if you're wondering how I'm laying all this out, I'm putting a tube of this shit down, or a layer, and then I'm running 5 screws across here when it only had 3. And then I'm Craig jigging in the side to give it more support. And yeah, I bought clear caulk in the tube. It's wide. I'm hoping it's some shit that's gonna dry clear. And if you look, the order I took the boards out in, I did label drive with the arrow to driver's side, and they're numbered from 1 being on bottom up to 4. And yeah, when we cut this wall to make it bigger, we cut through one of my wires for my dome light. But yeah, that shit looks terrible on the sides back there. But I'm just wanting to get this all together and play it more, do more testing with it, see what it really does. Because when I tried to play yesterday some of the higher frequencies, you know, like in the upper 20s through the 30s, it sounded like this damn port was coming apart. I still got to make something to put right here to come up and go to the bottom of the big board that goes back in here. And I probably got to do the same thing on the top. But I'm thinking about just cutting a piece of wood, Craig jigging it down here, and then screwing straight through the port into it. But just wanted to give y'all a layout and show y'all how I'm doing this. But anyway, I'm gonna get back to work. You can see I got a brace up top, and at the bottom, the board to go in, sit on that, and I put some of that silicone shit on here, lined the board up, and just kind of laid it down like that to mark the board. That way I could drill 2 holes from the back side, center of this. Did the same thing on top. That way I got that support, because this port is like a foot long, and it's going to need that bracing in the middle there to hold it, to keep it from flexing and shit. So I just wanted to show y'all how I did it and how I marked the back. It is definitely, they're Craig jigged down. So, you know, I mean, but it's tight. I got 2 screws on this side, 1 on that one to hold it in there firmly. Same with the top. And I'm probably going to put a dab of this silicone there before I screw it down, just in case screws would want to like break loose, rattle, whatever. We got it covered. They are in and solid. Got the bracing in there. Now I got to put this back up. I got my other strip back up there on top of that. Not near as bright as it was pointing straight back. It was just kind of pointing up, but still, dome light's dome light, right, guys? Yeah. I'm sweating like, I ain't even gotta say what I'm sweating like. Some of y'all might be Christian folk out there, but I'm sweating. It's hot in there. My dumb ass forgot to bring the keys out 2 hours ago and rolled the windows down to get a little air in it. And I've been too lazy to go back in and get it. But I was trying to get this knocked out before it got really warm. And we got some good overcast right now. Like, look at the sky, it's cloudy, but it just don't last. Got my other strip of LEDs laid in here. I'll show you. I guess Deb's gonna cut me some 2-way tape just to stick to that 2-way tape so I can get it back up. I don't know how good that 2-way tape there is.
Temu.
I bought that shit on Temu. So if you see me at a show and you getting a demo and my LEDs back there flopping around, don't blame me, blame Temu. But anyway, guys, man, I could have ended this video like yesterday after I got the port in and did the testing and made gains. But I figured, what the hell, because, you know, that was temporary, and I don't want y'all to think I just slap shit in and do temporary work. It's different when it comes to testing. Because when you're doing testing, like if I'd have put all that shit in and lost, then I'd have pulled it all back out. And there again, that's the importance of owning a meter. Like, I own a little SPL lab meter. I'm in a beta program with iPhone, so I'm on like ISO 17.8. Thank you, a UPS guy. But so I'm running like an ISO beta program, and my firmware for my SPL lab meter just kept crashing. It wouldn't run it. But Billy brought his term lab. Dustin has a term lab. I have a term lab. And I wasn't even messing around with the sensor for the term lab to read power, to clamp it. I was doing that shit with my AMM1. So, you know, it is what it is. The AMM1 comes in great for some shit like that. Just because it's a lot easier to use and everything. But the point being, for those of you that are still watching this shit, if I wouldn't have done any testing and I'd have changed all this, it might have sounded louder by ear. But I could have lost a dB across the board. And how would have I known? That's why it's imperative always to test really before you make major changes, because if you don't test, you had no damn clue what you're doing. But she peeling the two-way. I got to get off of here. So, recap. Everything's in, braced, glued. I had to glue some of them corners like up there because the Craig jigs from being put in yesterday and taken out, they just did not want to hold. So, anyway, that took a while. It is pretty warm. We'll kind of go over everything to close this shit out. Oh, and I think the recone for Deb's sub is at my front gate. Or her blown stuff, my bad. Damn, get out here in the shade. So, recapping it. We took all the subs out. We had to move the wiring from the top chamber to the bottom chamber that goes from the amplifiers into the enclosure. We had to move that. Flip the subs over, put them back in, which that wasn't terrible. We cut out over 5 inches on each side of my front port to make it bigger. Then we had to bring the bottom up enough that we could safely go over the top of the front subwoofers, so that when they're at full excursion, they won't hit. And then we had to make the tuning for that, which come out to be like 11.8 something. I just went to an even foot. So is my tuning 44? Yeah, probably it's right at 44, because when you get in with big ports like that, to drop one hurt, you've got to go like 3 inches longer in some scenarios. So anyway, that is what we got. And like I said, yesterday, I just did it for the testing. It gained. I was happy with the gains. I wanted to make it more permanent. So this morning I come out here, I pull everything out, and I had to Craig jig a lot of stuff, and you know, I glued everything in with silicone. That way I can get it out if I want to. But, you know, I had to add 2 braces, stuff like that. So anyway, that is what we did. That is why we did it. Why we did it for the gains. How do we know it made gain? We did testing, guys. You know, we had the term lab over there. And just to have fun, yesterday, when we pulled Jangalang out of Dustin's shop, we burped Dustin's build. Brand new build. It ain't at its full potential yet. We still got to add an amp, but we got to add alternators, get voltage up, you know, externally regulated, all that shit. But can you guess what it did out the gate? I'll put a picture here if I got, yeah, I'll put a picture. Like, it should be over there somewhere. But anyway, guys, that's about all I got for you this weekend. I hope you watched all the way to this point. If you did, leave a comment, leave a like. If you're going to shop at Down for Sound, please use my affiliate link. You know, it's in the description of this video. It helps me tremendously. I have merch on here. That's where I keep getting, yeah, I love this hat. I wear this shit out this thing. But I have hats, shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies. We're getting into hoodie season, so y'all need to grab one of them hoodies. But if nothing else, just like the damn video. That helps me too. But anyway, guys, I will catch y'all on the flip side. And I'd hope you learned something from this video. I had talked to so many people that dabble in sixth orders. When I learned sixth orders, I learned it from reading on the internet. Nobody gave me any advice, just what I had read. Everybody that I had talked to that dabbled in sixth orders they knew nothing of what the top chamber does. And I talked to a lot of different people. Top chamber, front port, you don't need a front port. Bobby Mansfield, talking to this dude, he told me, yeah, we could get a front port in there, you know, which I needed it tuned lower. We had discussed that. I couldn't tune it lower. It was like 52 or some shit, because adding depth would hit the subs. And he's the one that's like, hell, just flip them over and then, you know, build in to tune it. And I knew the front port helped a lot, but I didn't think it helped lows. Who would have thought front port tuning would help lows on a sixth order? It helped a lot. So I hope you learned something, because I learned a lot doing this shit. Thank you to my wife, Debbie, my homeboy Billy, and my homeboy Dustin for all hanging out yesterday and helping me get this shit done. Peace out, guys, and as always, bass on. Jang-a-lang.
Come on over if you wanna have a good time. No more playing around, but now's the time to cross the line. Show me what's inside that soul.